Alright, Shroud the Avatar, gathering general information. Um, Now this was a wandering camp bandit encounter. I killed all the guys, and I made a video on that just for basic combat, how basic combat works, supposedly. These encounters are actually really nice because they give quite a bit of resources in them as well. Also, when you kill the enemies, you get a chest. I already looted this chest, but you get a chest that you can open as soon as they're all dead, and as soon as the system registers that you killed them all. So, anyway, within there, so there's quite a few things you can kill, or not kill, but can harvest or gather. One thing, regular rabbits. Oh, kill a little rabbit. All right. Using rabbit, I can gather the rabbit. Yeah, rabbits are pretty much skinning, and all they really have in them are rabbit carcasses. I'm not sure what you use carcasses for. Probably meat or something like that. But that's all they ever drop for rabbits. So probably no little point. You take all from the loot, just like a gathering, or just like combat. Now we look in the thing. This has a relatively small zone. If you go past this, you in the zone, and same thing on the other side. There's a gate, and it's basically like a square. It comes out, comes back around. So it's a really small area. Because it's just meant to be a quick encounter while you're traveling. But again, lots of resources. So we go through here. There's some gold. Here's a tree. There's another rabbit. So we're gonna put this tree. If I hold on to it, it says pine. So we're gonna double click it, and I'll start using forestry skill, and we'll chop the tree down. Goes pretty quick. Sometimes if you crit, the faster it can go. So if you crit, it can be cut down really quick as far as your whatever, and you can also crit as far as what you get in the drops. So this is a pretty good drop overall. Wood is pretty standard. Mushroom is relatively rare, and bark is like a medium. So I did a decent job on that one. Take all. I'm not going to bother killing the rabbit. It doesn't do anything. Gold. Here's an example of mining. As long as you see it. Now, at a certain distance, it looks like you can see it from really far away. But yeah, there it goes. So you can see it, but as you can see, it blends in pretty well. So when you're running around the world, I mean, that one's not pretty easy, but there might be some that are harder to see. Let's see. There's one on here at all. No, there's not one on here. But gathering can be relatively difficult to find stuff, especially if you're trying to avoid monsters at the same time. So this one's, again, really easy to see, but sometimes they can be harder to see. And it's light outside, and the sun's right above us, or right above us and stuff. So we'll double gather this. If you crit on the gathering part, it gathers quickly. Otherwise it goes normal speed. And also, the higher your skill, the faster you harvest. And then you can also crit not only on the gathering part, but you can crit on the contents that you get. So I just got gold. Deal. And then once you harvest it, it disappears. Bigger, sometimes some nodes won't disappear, so you can harvest it more than once. Also, your skills can make it that way too. So the higher your skills, the more you can harvest that node before it disappears. It will not respawn in these little instances, I don't believe. Of course, I don't stick around here long enough to find out. But in most open world zone, normal combat zones and stuff, I believe they respawn after a little bit, or a chance of it. Or if you leave and come back, I'm sure it respawn. We'll run over here and grab the tree. So again, there's a handful of harvesting methods or things or ways you can harvest. Pretty much you have mining, which is all ores, forestry, which is all trees, fishing. I haven't tried fishing yet, but it's fishing. Field dressing, which is skinning animals and getting carcasses and stuff. And then you have foraging, which is getting raw materials like cotton. I got the same thing. Interesting. Cotton and other types of resources. Cotton seems to be the most common. Anyway, so look around the rocks. See if we. Oh, there's another gold node. Just walked right by it. So it can be, and then as you see, like as the shadows kind of hit it, or your shaders, depending on the shader level you have going, it might be easier or harder to see. You can see some reflection there from the shaders. So higher shader levels might be easier to see. Lower shader levels might be easier to see. So it's hard to tell on those levels, and that disappeared on the first thing. I got it. So if I go to video and I take the shader and I turn it down to like low, just for a second for a minute. So you see some of the reflections might change based on the low graphics versus the higher shader. If you go to maximum, did it change at all? I can't tell. I usually keep it like medium. I swear things flicker, and then you look at it and you don't know. Yeah, so shaders, affect obviously your quality, so it might affect some of your ability to see stuff. Again, nothing here. Alright. And this doesn't take too long to gather. I'm also explaining it, so it's taking a little longer, but again, it's pretty quick. Sometimes you can see, you'll find it on lots of different rocks. You walk right by it, you don't see it one time, you just encounter it the next time, and it's there, and you notice it. So, or sometimes there's more trees than others, and more rabbits. Again, rabbits only seem to drop the rabbit carcass, which doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, you can probably cook with it once you get enough skills, rabbit stew or something, but I don't have any recipes for that. Looks like the trees kind of use like a lower res texture compared to some of the other objects, like those cinnamon bark. That kind of seems like a rare drop. So if you look at those trees in the background when you close to them, they actually look relatively well. These harvestable trees have like lower textures. Just hopefully they do adjust that. There's a cotton node. And sometimes there's probably some nodes that are very difficult to see, until you know what they are, until you actually see them. Like this was pretty obvious, so you kind of, it's a low res texture, and as soon as you know what it is, you know what to look for, you see them. But sometimes in the crystals, sometimes are relatively easy to see because they glow usually. But I'm sure some plants are hard to tell. Like there could be other plants near besides cotton, and I could just be missing it because I don't know what to look for. That kind of blends in if you notice too. There's a gold and a copper, so we'll do the copper. Let's see what we get. Copper can drop quite a bit of stuff. Now it's partially skill related and partially copper. Maybe has lots of stuff in it. But copper, granite, tin, tungsten, those often come from copper. Gold only seems to drop gold. So silver only seems to drop silver. See, that was a critical gather right there. It went really quick. In the darker sides, it's easier to miss stuff. Alright, so what we got over here. Rabbit will skip. There's a tungsten, or a copper node, which I almost missed it. You can almost, run right by it if you think it was like a shader issue, graphic shader issue, if you didn't actually see it. It's funny how the shaders are glowing, making it glow. See, that was another crit gather, which is nice. I'm getting a little bit of lag, that's why it's taking a second to register when I pick things up. So, another crit gather. It's nice because it goes pretty quick when you do that. And I level up to level 7 of my foraging, survey, and swift gathering skill. There's our gold node. I think I pretty much gathered. See, these trees, well, from a distance they look better, right? They still look lower textures, lower res textures. Hopefully they update more of these things a little better when they have time. Still have a lot to work on this game, and I don't know how many developers they have, so I think they've done a good job overall, and I can live with low res textures if the game quality is good, and I find this quality of what you can do in the game relatively good. Oh, I leveled up again. Those level 8s on those. And it looks like the last thing, unless there's a mining node in here, it's just this tree. So I'll get that last tree. Again, these wandering encounters. The skeleton one has some gathering nodes. The stag wandering encounter has lots of deer and stags and some bears and lots of nodes as well. So they don't have a sound effect for the tree falling. Hopefully they add that. It'd be nice if you heard like the crunching sound and it started to drop down in. But anyway, that's basic gathering right there. And there's also farm gathering. You can have farms and you can gather your stuff from your farms and grow it yourself as well. So that's a whole other category. So that's basically it.